Morning all. Sorry, I'm absolutely engrossed in this advert for this knife sharpener that was actually illegal because it made knives too sharp for public use, and only sushi chefs in Japan were allowed to use it. It's amazing what crap they put on YouTube, isn't it? $44 this is. It's a knife sharpener. And it's 50% off. This knife sharpener is nuts. I doubt that very much. Husbands that play guitar on the Hoover have used this knife sharpener. Oh, sorry. Let's get on with the real world. Let me just get rid of that. Right, how's everybody doing? So some of these adverts are just hilarious. Morning, Peter. What's the time? 7 minutes to the open. I've got a short on DAX. We basically, yesterday's close was up here. This morning we opened with a very tiny little gap and filled it straight away, and we had a big old push up day yesterday. Whoops. I'm looking for a quick short run at the open. We are now, I've said it every day for the last 3 days. We're pulling back on this drop. We are now on day 6 up. We don't get 6 up days on the trot. It doesn't happen on the DAX, very rarely. We've got 2 massive gaps to fill. And we gapped down, filled the gap very, very fast, and started going bearish. So I jumped in with a speculative short as the gap filled, added on a break there, added on a break of that low, and I've got 3 positions on at the minute which are in profit. So I'm looking for this to be it. I've been looking for this to get filled for the last 3 days and it's not interested. So I think we're coming down here, sharpish. So I'm looking for a sell-off day today. Nasdaq, another up day yesterday. S&P up day. Dow up day. We are close to support, close to resistance areas on this as well. If we're going to continue on this downtrend, we're staying nicely with the 24 on the US indices. So just looking for a run at the open. I've got 0.7 in the bank at the minute, so I'm going to just see what happens with this at the open. But yeah, looking for down day today. Morning Diamond, morning Gumani, Burke. Yeah, so there you go, there's the DAX. Didn't get anything much off of the news this morning. We had the Aussie dollar wage index. We had some chop on the Aussie. We'll have a look at that in a minute. CPI for the pound did very little. It came out pretty much as expected. So this was all factored into the market. We knew inflation's going up. No surprise. It would have been a surprise if it had come out higher than expected. We would have got a big drop in the pound and probably in the FTSE, but we didn't get that. So it's the first time it's come out slightly under expectation for a while. So they got it wrong. So it seems to have slowed ever so slightly, but it's 0.1, it's 1%. It's nothing. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. It's all going up. We've got CPI for the CAD this afternoon is the only news event. So this afternoon we need to be aware of CAD CPI. CAD CPI forecast to drop. I think that's going to go up. So we may get some negative movement on the CAD this afternoon, but we'll see. Obviously, the CPI is going to be very different to the rest of the world for the CAD because of oil. They're making money. Everyone else is losing it. So we will see. So that's all we've got for news today. A lot of wicks to the downside on this. Do I want to shut this? Do I want to bank this? What do I want to do? Don't know what to do. 0.8. Everything else is doing all right at the minute. Banked 2.4% yesterday, most of that on the DAX and on the Swiss yen yesterday, was it? Yeah, Swiss yen yesterday, so I got out of all the Swiss yen. Nice profit. I'm going to stick that in the bank. It's 0.6. And then I will see what happens at the open. But I'm looking for a short at the open. What I might do is just stick a sell stop under the lows. Just move that down a little bit. So if we are going to get a straightaway run today, I'll get gathered up in that. I might as well stick that in the bank. It's nice to have a little buffer to start the day with. So yeah, so big run up on all indices at the moment, especially on the DAX. Obviously, from a daily perspective, we're back up in the 2472 zone. This is taking a lot longer. It's coming down a lot slower than the US indices. Obviously, there's a lot less stocks in the DAX. It is moving slower, same as the Dow. It moves a lot slower, but we are holding market structure very, very nicely at the moment. So I'm looking for these highs here to be protected, and this 6-day run up basically to come to an end. As I say, 6-day run-ups are rare. We very rarely get 6-day run-ups. When we do, we get a drop. So this is quite unusual to see this. Morning, Stevie. And the other thing that is unusual is to see 2 gaps getting left behind along the way as well. So we got 2 not insignificantly sized gaps to fill. So I'm looking for one of these. Looking for the market to start selling today. So we will see what happens. Starting to move down at the open. So we got 1 minute. We'll go through all the FX pairs. We'll have a look at everything. No ADRs hit today. We've got 2 weeklies on the pounds to look at as well. So we'll have a look at those in a sec. And just see where we go at the open. I've got a couple of DAX positions running short from yesterday as well on my other account, which were sort of around here and here. So I've got a couple already which I held overnight, which is obviously very risky, as we found out the other day when I got stopped out, wherever they were. Here. So I had a couple running overnight which got stopped out on the gap. So you just be very careful with gaps. Shouldn't hold indices overnight. So there is obviously potential to come up and retest these highs at the open. There is potential to come up and retest this area as well. So come up and retest the 72 back up at the 14,300 level. So there is upside still on the DAX. Up there. But we will see. I haven't got the crickets on, have I? Stick the crickets on. No volume at all at the minute. Don't look like it's working, does it? Okay, so just retesting the lows. Here comes the sellers. Okay, so quickly retested those lows there and bounced off. Okay, short one. FTSE's coming down hard. A lot harder, probably off the back of the inflation figures. Coming down harder than all the other indices at the minute. I haven't got the FTSE on here, but S&P and the Dow and the DAX and everything. Sorry, the Nasdaq and everything. Opening bearish, but nothing, nothing dramatic. Shiv, I'm still learning. We are all still learning. Don't worry about that. You never stop learning in this industry. Still pushing down on the FTSE. We've got a bit of buying coming in on the DAX and the US indices as well. So opening range highs in. Quite tight opening range this morning. So see if we get that break of the opening range high. Sell stop under the lows. So looking to add to that position if that starts to play out. Bit of a slow open this morning so far. See if we can get some traction. Not a lot of volatility at the minute, but a little bit more selling than buying anyway. So second position on. So looking for that pop through this low. See if we can get a decent pop. It's rejected. There. Sellers all getting absorbed at the lows here. Every attempt to knock on the door down there, we're just getting pushed back. So a lot of buyers sitting there. So if we can keep hitting that, eventually those buyers are just going to stop and give up. but looks like they are absorbing all of that. We've got CAD, which the only news we've got today is CAD, isn't it? Yeah. So we're not hanging around for any news at the minute. Not quite sure why we're opening so slow today. Got 2 minutes left on this candle. Let's see if we can get this cracked. If we can crack this low, I think we've probably got a bit of downside, but it's not. We're certainly not getting the flurry I was hoping for today after that run up. After I move that strong, I'm expecting a big day. Doesn't seem to want to do it, does it? Stevie, short on the pound US and pound yen currently, plus 4% going for the 4-hour gap fill. Yeah, good one. Plus 4%, blimey. Yeah, it's a good rejection of the resistance on that, so just be careful of this level here. So target there, I would at least get out some of it there on the pound yen, on the pound US. Pound yen, you've got these lows here, somewhere around there. We've reacted previously. Buyers coming through, going long again. Can't believe there's so much strength in this market at the minute. Unbelievable. It just won't stop. So potentially looks like we are heading up for this 143.19 level. We'll see if we get this breakout. This might be a false breakout. They might just pull it straight back inside the opening range. If not, first stop, second stop, I guess, today. So you should be flipping for longs. Out of one. It's already done the opening gap fill. The gap was there, and it opened there, filled it straight away. So there's no gap today. Pound Swiss, I've been short on at the minute. We had a reverse alert on that in the New York session yesterday. I scaled in at that high, 4-hour high. So I took that entry there on a pending. So I'm just coming down on this morning, looking for targets down here. In fact, I better put those in case I'm not watching it. Just put those two on at the minute. Good one, DAX. Very funny. Re-entering that second short. Too tight stop. Well, I think that's not really too tight stop. That's just the DAX being a pain in the arse. Okay, so retesting the low. Want to see a pop this time. Get a decent pop through the lows. Otherwise, we're potentially going into rotation. FTSE's making new lows on the session, which is good. Dow has just made new lows on the Globex session. Nasdaq is also attempting new lows as well. Everything's moving down. FTSE especially is doing very nicely this morning. Dow's just taken out the lows of the Globex. Come on, let's get some sellers in, please. 1.5 minutes left. Want to see a good break of this low and hold, and then hopefully we'll get some downside. Jeez, market's flat. Okay. We'll have a look through a load of FX pairs in a minute. Just wait and see if this can actually get some traction. God. Okay, 30 seconds left. Okay, there's the pop. So sellers just broke through all the buy limits. So we should, when we get down to these lows, we should see all those buyers puke and we'll get a good rundown hopefully. When they realise they're on the wrong side of it down here, they'll all get out, which will add to the selling pressure, which will make it move faster. Reversal alert on the Dow. Rest of the indices still tootling about. My God. Right, well, I think I'll leave that there. And potential pullback into there. This set area here is basically where we need to crack. Following that, obviously, we should get down to 14099 or 14100 level roughly. Come back down to retest this area, and obviously target one today really is gap fill from yesterday, and then after that is the previous gap fill, which is this one here, assuming we're obviously still in a bear market, that is. If we are still in a bear market, this is pretty much all we're getting out of the DAX. We're not going to go any higher. This is a way bigger pullback than I was expecting to achieve anyway. I was looking for a 68 pullback, gap fill. We got 71.9 double top, and then yesterday we just put another one in. So it can't go any higher. Otherwise, it's going to invalidate the market structure, and potentially we are starting to look for longs. But so just finding some buyers at the lows. So hopefully we've got enough sellers to quash that. As soon as we're through that, well, that's not really a gap, so back down to the lows. So let that run. Keep an eye on that one. Right. So I just need to bank some profit. One sec. Pound CAD. Oh, I forgot I had that on. Oh, very nice. I think I'll let that run. Sorry, I took a pound CAD trade yesterday on my funded account. I forgot I had it on. I'm going to let that run though. Target's down at these highs, this gap, basically. What else have I got? DAX. Take one off of that. FTSE, take one off of that. I'll do. Right. Sorry, I'm running too many accounts at the same time. Okay, so looking at the rest of the market, there's nothing on ADR today. Nothing's hit ADR so far. The Aussies were the main things I was looking at for ADR hits this morning, but obviously off the back of the wage news, we didn't get anything. We basically got a whipsaw out of the Aussie dollar this morning, and obviously the pound would expect something off of the CPI figures, but the CPI figures did nothing either. So we're just getting the reaction off of CPI now the market's opened, and obviously we were looking for shorts. The news is as expected, so hopefully this is the shorts kicking in on the pound now. I've got pound Swiss short around about break even on that one now. We're just retesting this accumulation here. So assuming we can break this, should be looking for an ADR hit today on the pound pairs. So they're all nicely underway. The pound yen was a weekly ADR, sorry, a weekly range hit. Let's go out to the hourly. So from Monday, we opened down here, pushed down. We put the entire weekly range in on Monday and Tuesday this week, which took us straight up into resistance, which it's bouncing off very nicely. So if you look at this kind of longer term, we're just basically maintaining market structure down. So we should be looking for lows. DAX is buying up at the minute. They all are. So hopefully it's just a pullback on the DAX. So yeah, good bearish market structure on the pound yen and the pound US dollar as well. Pushed up and it's just started to roll over. Obviously gap fill. So that's a nice 4-hour RSI extension, which is just starting to play out. US dollar's a little weak at the minute. Kind of neutral. There's no news this week particularly strong for the US dollar. So obviously we've got the CAD CPI this afternoon. We've got unemployment for Aussie tomorrow. We've got Philly Fed and unemployment, which doesn't tend to do a lot for the US dollar. And then we've got retail sales for the pound on Friday. So there's nothing US dollar. We had all the US dollar news yesterday off of core retail, and that was mixed messages. So US dollar's kind of sitting neutral at the moment, not really being moved. We've got other news on other instruments which the market's concentrating on at the minute. So as we're in a bit of doldrums on the US dollar, obviously other currencies are taking advantage, but we would expect the US dollar to power back up again, which is going to drop everything against it. So good weekly range hits. They were 4-hour RSI extensions as well. So if you're in those, which I know a few people are, that's good. They're coming down short nicely. I'm on the pound Swiss, so I didn't take any of those. So that's all we've got on the weeklies. The monthlies, obviously, these all hit very early on this month, and they're all kind of starting to play out nicely. So I don't do much with the monthlies. 150s on the monthlies are probably the best to look at. So things like the Swiss yen, which I was already in anyway. But these are great for swing traders when we've got big strong moves in one direction, and we hit those monthly ranges early on within a week or so of the start of the month. They're great for starting to build positions, and then obviously eventually we will get those pullbacks starting to happen. So they're really good for swing traders. I don't trade them much myself, but because I'm shorter term at the minute, a lot shorter term. Still got some buying coming in again. We're just retesting these lows. So looking for that kind of market structure to come back and retest these lows, and then eventually obviously down to there. But this being the DAX, and the DAX being a pain in the ass, backside, arse, whatever you want to call it at the moment, is on an absolute mission. So be interesting to see if we do get these levels tested. So yesterday's high and that. So those are the dangers at the minute, that the market wants to come back up and try and retest that area, which will obviously take me out. So yeah, ADR's nothing. I don't think there's anything getting close at the moment. No, it's all pretty yeah, pretty weak. Nothing close as yet. So keep your eyes on those, but probably not going to get anything until late London, if not New York, if we do get anything today. RSI's flat as a pancake. We haven't got any hourly RSIs at the moment, and the only 4-hour RSI we've got is the pound US, which obviously was the signal on that was yesterday here. Which is now obviously playing out. So looking for this propulsion gap to get filled. This one I think is a really good target. This is a much better propulsion gap than this one, purely because the propulsion gaps are better when you've had an accumulation. So the idea being we get an accumulation breakout. Yeah, that is where the propulsion gap forms. After that accumulation, the market will quite often want to come back and retest there, where you will find everybody that bought to make that breakout happen will add to their positions, which is why these work so well. This one, there wasn't much of an accumulation before it. So this is a stronger one because we had that lovely accumulation before the break. So I think we've got a high probability of retesting that 123 level. So if you're in it, you can hold it. But there are other levels you need to be aware of here. Obviously that level there is very strong, so halfway in this propulsion gap. So if you're short on this pound yen, pound US, you know, when you get down here, I would take a partial and just reduce your risk down a little bit. Don't go to break even, because you know what happens when you go to break even. The market comes back. Market structure, break even, people, is just the worst thing you can possibly do with a trade, because the way that market structure works is it comes down and then it pulls back and retests. 90% of the time people get in after they've seen a break in structure somewhere around there. What happens is they take a partial profit, they move to break even. What does the market do? Come back and take you out, because market structure moves like that. So if you are in this, you're probably somewhere around there. When this gets down to here, it's highly likely to pull back before it drops. That's going to be your break even. Reduce your risk by all means, but if you break even your risk, there's a very high probability you're going to get taken out. So but yeah, obviously this could well just tank completely. We've had inflation figures being confirmed as going up, which is no shock whatsoever. But pound should, in theory, start to drop on it anyway. So that's all we've got on those RSIs. We had lots of RSI extensions, which have been there over the last week. And the ones that we looked at on Monday as well, they're all starting to play out. DAX is starting to sell slightly at the moment. We're just reversing that position down again. So just got another 2.5 minutes. We'd like to get a bearish engulfing on that just to confirm short price action. Just going to add another one under those lows. Under there, basically. So if we get bearish engulfing, just get gathered up, assuming that we're going to break these lows and retest this area, and then I'll start to take some of this higher lot position off. So there's nothing on the 4 hours at all. Gold, we had the bounce yesterday. Sorry, let me just move back down to hourly. Oh, sorry, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before, wasn't it? So we had the bounce off of support. We've still got a very weak US dollar, so there is potential, I think, for a retest and a push up, but ultimately I think probably we will continue down, but very, very difficult to tell with gold what gold's doing at the moment. We're back in this area of accumulation. We've got 2 areas of balance here that we've been very happy to trade in for many months. So we're back down in this area again. So we are going to meet some chop down here. The market is not buying gold up as much as I was expecting it to with the war. But then the war is it's like COVID. COVID doesn't even hit the news in the UK now. The war is still being reported on, but it's moved way down the running order in the news, unless something big is happening, like the pullout of Mariupol. That was top of the news today, but the news is very much becoming an afterthought now, and the markets are less less worried about it. I think at the moment we're in a new normal now. So continuing pushes on US. Gold has stabilized, so we would expect that to continue down at some point. But yeah, difficult one. The trick is how quickly you can tell the difference between a pullback and a reversal, like right now in the DAX. Could be either, yeah. You don't know. This is the thing. Clues. You have to go with the clues the market gives you. We got 15 seconds left on this candle. If this candle closes as a bearish engulfing, I would say that's a pullback on the next leg down. If this candle closes somewhere up here, we are potentially still either in a pullback or this is a reversal on a bullish move. That is the problem. You will never ever know that until it has happened, and this is where your understanding of how to forecast the market changes. Right now, and this is why the market moves, because right now there are a load of people seeing bullish market structure. Yeah, that's what everybody's seeing at the minute. So there's a load of bulls in the market. There's also a load of people thinking that is the high, and like me, looking bearish. So there's a load of bears in the market. Yeah, and we will battle it out until one of us wins. And the way one of us wins is by either confirming a new low or defending a low and making a new high. No one can tell you what is going to happen. But your job is to have one of those views, be a bull or a bear, and take that stance on the market. Some days you're going to get it right and you're going to make an absolute fortune. Some days you're going to get it wrong and you're going to lose. Other days, the bulls and the bears are going to argue for the entire session. You're going to get chopped to pieces. You can't tell what's going to happen. You just have to get in, get out, get whatever the market gives you. You can't force the market to give you money. You just have to take what it gives you. And the trick is to try and be right more than you're wrong. It is that simple. It really is, isn't it? When you think about it. That's all you got to do. I'm short at the moment. I'm either going to lose 1.5%. Well, I'm not. I'm going to lose 1% because that position's not on yet. Or I'm going to make 3 or 4%. 2%. Something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to make. Depends what the market does. If this next candle here in the next 3 minutes goes and makes a new low, I'm going to take that off, move to break even, average, and yeah, let these run down to there, as it's doing right now. If it goes like that, I might consider just shutting the lot out and walking away because it's not doing anything. And those are the decisions you make. You give 10 people the same chart and tell them to trade it, you get 10 completely different results. You can have 5 people with a bearish stance on this right now, and one of them will make money, the other 4 will lose money. You've seen me so many times, haven't you, in here? Get the trade right, get the entries wrong, and lose money. It does exactly what I said it was going to do before the market opened, yet I somehow managed to lose money getting the trade right. That's just life. That's just trading. And accepting that and moving on is the hard bit. It is simple, but it is not easy. Exactly. How many times have you laid there at night thinking of a strategy, thinking of a system, thinking of a way to trade, and every trade in your mind plays out perfectly? You see it on the chart, you execute it exactly as you thought about it in your dream, or as you were lying in bed running through your head at 1 o'clock in the morning because you can't stop thinking about charts, and you execute it exactly as you thought, and you lose money, and you go, why didn't that work? I've gone short on this market, yeah? I got short there, I got short there. What happened? I got stopped out. Am I right? Yes. I got stopped out. And the reason I got stopped out is because that was that. If that had been 450, I wouldn't have got stopped out on that position, would I? Yeah. I couldn't know whether it's going to be 400 or 450. Just unlucky. And the people that tell you there's no luck in trading haven't been trading long enough. When Putin sends a message out and says something that tanks the market and I'm short on it with 4 positions, am I a good trader? No, I'm bloody lucky. Did I bank 13% on it? Yes. Was it skill? No, pure luck. As soon as you realise, and this, my first video I ever published on YouTube pretty much was "You have no control." It was called. You have no control. Just get on the bus. Hopefully, it goes to the stop that you want it to go to, and get off. If it goes to the stop in the other way, get off. Really is that simple. Almost every night, buying tick data suite was a good cure for this. Yeah, that is a good cure. But the trouble is with tick data suite is the more back testing you do and the more you watch the market move, the more it tends to get ingrained in your brain and you just carry on dreaming about it. But hey, that's life. Yeah. The back testing is absolutely key. I've said it many times before. You need to spend 10,000 hours in front of these charts to get this all burnt into your muscle memory, so that when you see that, you go, I'm short. And when you see certain things happening, like 3-bar reversals, I'm long. Yeah. Until you've seen these things playing out hundreds and hundreds of thousands of times over and over again, it doesn't get burnt into your memory. It's like people say, well, why don't you take these? Because I don't need these IRBs and strong close candles, bullish and bearish engulfings. I know what they are. I can see them. I've seen them a million times. I don't need them to be labelled on the chart. If you spend 10,000 hours in front of the chart, it's going to take you 10,000 hours. If you go into the strategy tester and do 4 hours or 2 hours maybe a day of back testing, watching the chart move, you're potentially looking at months and years of price action. That's making up those 10,000 hours in a mere couple of hours, isn't it? The longer you spend watching stuff happening, just open the strategy tester and just I don't know what that EA is, but just watch it just go and play out. This is just something I knocked up to test a theory. But yeah, just watch it go. The best way to do it is let's pick something else. I've got so many EAs, so many tests. This gives you an idea of how much testing I do. I build EAs to test strategies and theories, over and over and over and over again. Just use that one. If you put it on control points, you'll get much faster price action. And just watch it. Just watch the market moving when it decides to move. What's going on there? Oh, I haven't got... Huh? Oh, this might be a broken version of the EA. No, there you go. So just sit here and do this. This is a 5-minute chart. Yeah, I've just seen 20 minutes unfolding in 3 or 4 seconds. Yeah, just watch. And if you sit here and just stare at this until you fall asleep, you'll have put in weeks and weeks of chart time. Just seeing stuff unfolding in front of your eyes. It's brilliant. Can't go wrong. Anyway, I won't bore you with that because you can go and get bored with that yourself. New low gone in, new lower high, new lower high, lower low. Yeah, again, things like this, you know, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. What am I looking for? Yeah. Is this bullish or bearish at the moment? There's no indications coming in on volume that's telling me the market is long or short, but the market is telling me it's short at the moment because it's making lower highs and it's making lower lows. If this suddenly makes a higher low and a higher high, I'm worried. Right now, I'm not worried. Yeah, but I've got no idea whether this is going to go that way or that way. No idea. Don't do it with the default data though. It's crap. Yeah, it is. Lower low put in. Okay, so we've now got a lower high and a lower low. We're still bearish. In a minute, we're going to get some selling coming in and it's going to pop. There we go. But the only reason I know that is because I've watched this thing over and over again for many, many years, and I know that in the last 10 to 15 seconds is where all the price action drops. You know, it's just things like this you're not going to figure out in 5 minutes. They don't do a manual. Pound CAD is still dropping. So I'm just on the pound CAD, that trade, that's why I'm picking this one as an example. But the pound is still dropping nicely. Pound Swiss is just pulling back off the lows. Got potential W formation on pound yen. Still no movement on the US dollar so far. US dollar Swiss pushing out. So we've got a weak Swiss franc at the moment. So big strong moves against the Swissy. Ugh, come on, make your mind up. Has anybody got any pairs they want to look at? Just out of interest. There's a few people talking about the euro US dollar in the Telegram group. Or one person asking where it's going. So it depends obviously on your bias. I'm short bias on euro US dollar, just purely because there's nothing forecast positive about the euro at the moment. There is talks about obviously interest rate rises, which is not really going to help the euro. Interest rate rises aren't the be all and end all. At the moment, we've obviously pushed down and pulled back up into this balance at the minute. So we are just rejecting that. If we break back down below this low, or these lows really here today, i.e. if we get an ADR hit to the downside today, I think we're going to go down for another leg. But obviously this is where we want to be concentrating on for shorts, really, getting back up into the 24.72 zone. So at the moment, this thing could just collapse, but equally we could just get a little bit of a pullback. We've had a reversal down here which hasn't really been properly retested yet, so we could be putting in a little bit of strength. It all depends really how long the US dollar stays neutral. With the US dollar being neutral to weak, obviously everything's going to be building up against it. As soon as the US dollar starts to strengthen up again, it's all going to come crashing back down again. So from a news perspective, we've got, thought we had some US news. We've got PCE, that's all. Oh yeah, GDP. I thought there was something interesting next week. So we got US GDP next Thursday. So it's towards the end of the week, really, next week. The first sort of tranche of news on the US dollar coming through. So there's not really any catalysts at the moment to strengthen up the US dollar dramatically, but there's no reason why it shouldn't just continue doing what it's doing. I've got US dollar CAD long on at the moment. We just pulled back into the 24 and 4-hour RSI extension, so I'm just looking for a bit of a bounce on that. Could well be just that sort of movement. Obviously news is coming out over here somewhere next week. Sorry, yes it is. Where are we? Wednesday, aren't we? Yeah. So news is coming out over here next week. So we've got this whole area for it to chop around at the moment. So with Euro US dollar, as I say, I'm always going to be short on this, all Euro pairs, until Lagarde comes out and actually says we are doing something proactive that is going to bolster our economy, and Ukraine, obviously. That crisis is not teetering on the edge of tipping the whole of Europe into Third World War. There's no reason really to be massively bullish on the euro. It will gain, obviously, against things that are weak, like the Australian dollar. But this isn't going to last. The Aussie and New Zealand doing well out of minerals, and the longer the conflict goes on, the better that's going to be for them. So again, those will strengthen up, hence being short at the moment on the euro odd. I'm not going to run through every pair, so we're just taking those lows. Not really getting anywhere there, are we, at the moment? Very, very, very weak market this morning. Anybody got any pairs in particular they want to have a look at? There's no opportunities on RSIs, obviously, so there's not really a lot to cover. If we look at everything that we went through on Monday, rather, it's all kind of just starting to, it's all just kind of playing out ever so slowly from what we were looking at. So not really any opportunities anywhere at the minute. Good selling coming on the US indices. Nasdaq's just approaching lows. Slow. It's going to be one of those sessions. So CAD, if you're looking for opportunities, so probably the best thing to look at this morning really is the CAD pairs. Looking for opportunities ahead of the CPI figures. So this is a tricky one to call, the CAD CPI. I would be looking for longs on the CAD. The CAD is strong at the minute. They are forecasting inflation or CPI to be going down. If this comes out as expected, it will be probably strong for the CAD because it's factored in already. If it comes out a lower figure, probably strong for the CAD. If it comes out a couple of percentiles higher, I would say it's probably neutral to okay. If it comes out anywhere near previous figures, we will probably see a downturn. So from the CAD perspective, I think there's a lot more chance of getting a strength move on the CAD than there is anything else. So if you want to look at opportunities, God, this is so slow this morning. So I'm just looking at other opportunities to take some off. I've got a couple of other positions on. DAX 1, 2, 3. I'm going to let that DAX run, I think, for a minute. Sorry, Aussie dollar CAD. So looking for CAD strength, obviously. So we'll be looking for everything against the CAD to drop and everything CAD whatever to go up. Aussie dollar has just pulled back up into this area of resistance. Obviously nice bearish market structure going in at the moment. We've just had a reversal on the 4 hour, which has retested 3 times, or 4 times really if you count that as well, and rejected. Obviously we're just in a holding pattern at the moment because we've got the Canadian dollar news to come out. So stop hunt, high, drop I would be looking for on the Aussie dollar. So short positions on the Aussie. The CAD pairs, CAD Swiss, we've just taken out those lows. Didn't quite get down to that support, but yeah, basically looking for longs on that at the moment. CAD yen looking for longs anyway, because we're looking for longs against the yen. This is kind of already playing out, so pull back lovely into support, which is held. So longs, break above those highs. Obviously target's going to be somewhere up in the highs. Euro CAD shorts, so it's just starting to roll over this morning. We didn't get much of a pullback on this. We got 38. I was kind of looking for it to get a little bit higher. This is the main level of support resistance, the 50. So I was looking for it to try and get back up to there, which it hasn't managed to do. So if we get that strong CAD coming through, obviously this is just going to tank. So we'll be looking for a break of these lows basically, but obviously initial target would be down at those lows. And the pound CAD has obviously started to roll over already. We're just about to get a reversal alert on that one. This level here is the daily. So this is this area here, which we've basically tested and bounced off and have slammed through it twice now. We've got this area we've just basically moved away from, which is these lows around here. So these 2 lines here represent where we've stopped and the oldest low that we can see back there. So there is potential downside for us down to 156,400, which is 225 ADR today, all the way down there. I've got that pound CAD short on my funded account, which I'm going to hold. I'm going to put a break-even stop on it and just hold it basically, with the assumption that we're going to get that strength on the CAD and that news is going to drive it down for me. So obviously these lows is what you want to be looking at initially for targets, but that is the ultimate target all the way down there. So there's plenty of drop on it. It's pulled back very nicely on that initial move, so we're just kind of range bound at the minute, but up towards the top of the range. So obviously with any news, the danger always is that they take the price up and grab liquidity. If you've got a couple of areas fairly close to each other, they quite easily will grab both of those. That's exceeding ADR today, so may not get up there to grab that, but they could well come and grab that one. Equally, they could drop down to those lows and just bring it straight back into the range. So just be aware, but obviously looking ideally for shorts on it. New Zealand CAD, same thing as the Aussie CAD, pretty much. So that's just done that pullback, so looking for shorts. And US dollar CAD I'm already on. I've got a long on this one at the moment, so I'm looking for Canadian dollar weakness basically. So for me, I'm the wrong side of this one at the moment, looking for some US dollar strength. So I will see where this one is when the news comes out, and I might basically just break even stop it in case, and just get stopped out on it, always get back in again. I kind of picked the wrong US dollar pair to get into, because obviously got Canadian dollar news. I should have really picked the Swissy or the yen, but that's what I'm in. So from the US dollar CAD perspective, obviously I'm playing the bounce off the 24 at the moment here. So I'll be looking to scale in back down here at ADR if we get that Canadian dollar strength, and then wait for the US dollar to power up. But this is a sort of longer term swing anyway. But equally, obviously, the Canadian dollar, if we do get negative on it, I'll be quids in. So, but whatever happens, likelihood is you're going to get some kind of whipsaw reaction over the next couple of days off the back of the CAD news. So you'll be able to get in or out of whatever you want, direction wise. Pushing down on the DAX. I'm just thinking where we're going with this. We're going very, very slowly wherever we're headed. This is not the dump I was looking for this morning. I was looking for a decent move, but that way it's just very, 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 very slow. We haven't had a bullish candle yet, so I'm just going to keep hold of this, I think, and monitor it until we get some bullish price action. What I might do is, what's that going to be? That's nothing, is it? It's not even 0.5%. No, I'm going to leave it where it is. I'm not going to hold it down to there, I don't think. This isn't moving fast enough for me. What I'll probably do is wait for us to get to maybe 1%, 1.5%, depending on what price action does. This is kind of a key level here. When we get to this level, we're either going to get a bounce off of it, because there'll be a load of buy limit orders sitting here. There'll be a load of stops sitting under there as well from yesterday. So we're either going to slam through that, or we're going to bounce off of it. If it looks like we're bouncing when we get down here, then I'll probably just exit this with anything, sort of 0.5% or whatever I've got available. If we slam through it, I will probably take one off, and then just protect the rest of this position, because it's just so slow at the minute. I'm just worried about one of those, really long-winded pullbacks. Kind of like I was in the DAX yesterday. I sat through basically all of this yesterday. We had this big push up at the open. I started shorting, and I got into, I think, 3 or 4 positions. And by the end of this, I was in 5 positions, and I sat through this whole thing yesterday. I don't want to sit through that again, because it's tedious and horrible, and then finally got out of it. What I'm worried about is just coming back. This is obviously a lovely big balance area that we're happy to trade here at the minute in the DAX. I don't want to get back up into there and sit there. I'd rather just be out with 0.5% and not worry about it for the whole day. The way this is moving at the moment, it's going to be quite difficult to trade this today because it's just so slow. So I'll see what happens. So at the moment, we've got some buying price action coming in, as you can see. So we've made a new high and a higher low there. Still got 2.5 minutes left. So I'll watch what happens on this candle. And then make a decision on this one. Buying coming through on the DAX now as well. Okay, not making new highs at the minute. See if we can hold this high here. So got inside bar basically. I'm just going to protect the whole lot, break even stop on the average. Dangerous obviously because potentially that's what we may see as market structure, but we're rejecting the highs. Sellers have stepped in and defended this area at the end of the candle, so we've retraced all of that basically in the last 10 seconds, so ended up bearish. It's a bullish candle overall obviously because we've made a new higher high and new higher low, but we haven't managed to break out. We're still on an inside bar on the last down candle, so still overall bearish. And now if we're going to put in a new lower high and we can crack these lows, I'd say that's probably going to continue to the downside, but if not, I'll just get out. It's too slow to trade at the minute. Should really just take the profit, but the daily chart is just so bearish on this. I say it's obviously very, very bullish, but because it's bullish, it's bearish because we've had such a big run up and we've still got these gaps. My bias is bearish on it. So strong trend day. Hopefully we'll just hug the 20 all the way down through the session. Just grind it. That's what I'm looking for. A grindy day like this. So yeah, big, strong, well, big move, but just taking, you know, ages. That's what I'm looking for to the downside. So that's what I'm going to hold. Not going to trade anything else this morning, just going to see if that holds. If it does, come and take me out. I may try and get in and just take some fairly aggressive positions in the 2050 area. So if it pulls back up into here and then shows something bearish, what I'll probably do is just move over to this candle for stops. So basically, let's say this is the candle I want to trade. Obviously my stop will go there, and very aggressive short entries, and then getting out 1 or 2 candles lower. So just looking for very short moves like this, out, wait for the pullback, out, and just get in and out a few times as it's coming down. It's just so slow. Just putting new highs in again, just cracked that high, so looking bullish again. Stopped out. Ugh, crappy session. So looking for shorts basically up in the 2050 area. So these lows are holding potentially at the moment. So we are just potentially just holding a range at the minute. Difficult today. Really want to get in short, but really want to get in and get some decent moves. Want to hold it. Pound CAD still coming down nicely. Pound Swiss just made a new low, just pulling back again though. Not quite ready to bank any of that yet. Still think that's bearish. Right, not a lot else to talk about today because there's not a lot else moving. Be looking for shorts on the euro, shorts on the pound, longs on the CAD, potentially ahead of later. This is probably a really good spot to buy from here, to sell from rather. We're just retesting the opening range low and obviously the 20. So if we are going to break these lows and we are going to get that downward move starting, this is a good spot to start selling from, and then scaling again back up here, and then scaling when it comes down. So entry 1, entry 2, entry 3, drop. That's how I usually get in and try and get out. Close the pound pairs for plus 5.6 off swimming in the pool now. Adios. Well done, Stevie. Good job. Yeah, probably a good idea to close those pound pairs with 5.6%. It's a good day. And you're doing the right thing. Shut the charts. Go. Enjoy it. Pound CAD. Do I want to shut that? Holding it. Right. Okay, so I will leave you there, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Be aware of obviously the CAD news this afternoon. 1:30 CPI. So more chance of a positive CAD, I think, off the back of this news than there is a negative, but anything can happen. Even if the figures come out as expected or good for the Canadian dollar, doesn't mean they're going to do what they do. They do what they need to do and what they want to do, which is based on whatever amount of money they're going to make. So so basically good rejection going on there on the DAX. I'm just going to quickly take one off of that, I think. I'll take a sell stop under the lows. Oh, I don't want to take it that. It's a bit too tight, isn't it? Off of that candle. So what I'll do, let's go into a position short. Short with a tight stop, and I'll add in on the next candle with a similar stop, assuming we're going down, and then try to get in a position. I just can't see any speed of any. There's no urgency today, unfortunately, on this. And these are really hard to trade when they go this slow, because you kind of it teases you to get in too quick a lot of the time, and then your average is too, like I just saw, my average was a little bit too tight, and you just get stopped out too quickly. But I would look for the 2050 zone to hold if we are going. So this is where you want to be getting in, somewhere around here when it rejects out of here. So just trail underneath bull candles really until we get a bear candle, which will get you in. But if you're going to go with really tight stops, reduce risk down and get in with multiple positions. Right, that's it for today. This is moving far too slow and boring, so I won't bore you to death. I'll be around in the Telegram group if you need me, as usual. Any questions you've got? We've got some good questions this morning in the Telegram group on support and resistance, which is good. So anything you want to talk about basically in the Telegram group, fire away. It's a learning area, so people of all levels in there, so just chuck in information in the Telegram group and ask questions. You know, there's no wrong questions. The only stupid question or wrong question is a question that's been answered multiple times. And if you're still asking it, then yeah, that's a silly question. But yeah, if it's basically, you know, things like support and resistance, and that is very difficult and is very subjective. So put it in there. Everybody's got a different opinion on everything. So just, you know, come into the Telegram group and post charts with the indicators, post charts with support and resistance, you know, market structure questions. You know, that's what it's there for, to help people learn. So questions welcome in there, as long as they're not just pumping stupid indicators and stuff like that. Okay, I will see you tomorrow morning at 7:50. Be aware of the news this afternoon. Aussie dollar news tomorrow morning as well, so be aware of that. 2:30. If you've got any Aussie pairs on, we've got unemployment, so that could move the Aussie and the New Zealand, so you need to be aware of all of that tomorrow morning as well. But the main news this afternoon is the CAD. We've got nothing for the US dollar, so just kind of amble along today is what it looks like it wants to do. I had a professor who used to say there was no stupid questions, only stupid people. That is true. Yeah. There's not, that's not really strictly true what I say. You know, it's a stupid question if it's only a stupid question if it's been asked and answered before. You know, that Telegram group's got 5,500 members in it, and it's been going for many years. So finding answers in it is pretty difficult. But obviously, if people have watched all the videos on YouTube about stuff and they still don't understand things, then yeah, ask questions. But if it's the people that ask a question, and I say, go and watch this video, and they say, I've watched the video many times. Well, if you're asking the question, you didn't understand what's in the video, I can't really answer you anymore because the answer has been given to you. If you don't understand the answer, you have to question as to whether you should be doing it, if it doesn't make sense. But explaining things in a different way sometimes is useful. So, you know, I'm quite short in the Telegram group sometimes, only because I get asked the same question over and over again, and I have been for many years. So after a certain amount of time, you're like, no, again. But anyway, right. So yeah, guys, I'll see you tomorrow morning, 7:50. I'll post any trades I'm taking in the Telegram group. There's nothing interesting at all at the minute, anyway. But I'll let you know what I do with everything that I've got on. This is all I'm managing at the moment. I'm keeping my portfolio very tight, very limited. Because it's all a bit tricky at the minute. So, but I'll post anything that I'm taking or anything that I'm getting out of, and obviously we'll be aware of the CAD later. So, have a good morning. Hopefully, hopefully this DAX collapses and we can make a load of money out of it. It's due. So, all right, good one. See you in the morning.